So, new Bazaar patch is coming. By the time I release this video, it's not out yet, but I'm reviewing the patch notes ahead of time. Just my first impressions. There's a, if you want to watch the Rainad video, there's also the Rainad video where the guy himself talks it through. So about 9 hours ago, the patch came out. Okay, let me start waffling. I'm streaming. Okay. Apparently this is a big patch. Apparently a lot of things are happening in this one. So we're gonna try and, you know, have a gander, have a look at what's up. And let's see. Okay. We have updated the way rating is calculated based on wins rather than PvP combat results. So this is ranked, which I'm not worried about. Ranked is obviously still work in progress. Reset all rankings. Great for me. I was already at bronze. Because I didn't play too much ranked. I played like a few my free tickets most days. Issues fixed. Freeze effects mostly target items are equal or smaller size. It's a shame for the broken build, but it's good for the game, I think. Level up loot rewards now spawn directly on the player's board or stash, so then you don't need to click it. It saves us some time, I suppose. But what does this mean if you have a full inventory? Because last time the issue was sometimes that you would have things disappear, and I hope that it just like prevents you from clicking it until you sell something or you hit pass on the escape in the top right. Okay. Drop rate tables. Bronze items phase out sooner. That's good. Scaling updated. Also good. Bronze tier numbers have been improved. Overall scaling has been flattened. So, but also that bronze items phase out sooner. I guess it's trying to smoothen the curve. Not make it like bronze being terrible and then silver and gold and diamond being amazing. But, you know, if I analyze every single line, we'll be here all day, but we might actually be here all day anyway. So that's all that. Improved enchantments. Now toxic and fiery now mapped to based output. This is something you have to be very careful of, but obviously that's why they mentioned it's an ongoing process, because I already, like, I can imagine something that scales very easily on the base stat, like if it's a damage scaler or if it's a health or shield scaler, and then you enchant it with toxic or fiery, and then it goes immediately into being a huge damage dealer. That's good because as enchants are mid to late game things where you don't have time to scale something to viability. If you want to give something toxic in the mid to late game, and it's not just like the double enchant, or you don't have already like skills to buff the new type of affliction that you're casting, then you had no way of really doing anything. It was a useless enchant. So this is very nice, but obviously they have to make sure that it's proportionate in the right way. Okay. Vanessa item changes. The arbalest is the medium weapon, which very few people used. It's the medium, I mean, they describe it here. They buffed it, which just makes sense because it doesn't really see that much use because you have to find a way to reload it, and you need a haste engine for it to be any good. Okay, we got toys now, and the beach ball also hastes toys. I don't know how many items are toys. I guess that's important. And they nerfed barrel. They nerfed it a bit, I think. They made it, yeah, it's an overall nerf because now you're bored having a bunch of small non-weapons doesn't buff barrel. Now barrel, you know, obviously higher cooldown. And I think this should effectively should limit barrel being used like as a cornerstone. You could probably still use early game, but I think already I wasn't thinking running barrel in like the infinite combo style. So ballista base buff, that makes sense, that keeping the thing in line with the scaling more in line. Bayonet damage nerf. No, it's not a nerf. It's flattening of the curve. Instead of doubling, it's incremental sometimes. I think that's probably for the best, but it also means that leveling is no longer as valuable as, for example, just buffing it. Because previously, if you had a bayonet, like, or if you had any item like with this sort of style of scaling, you needed to level it because it would be really valuable, more valuable than, for example, going for sharpening stone. Because why would you want to go for a sharpening stone if you have a silver bayonet? If it buffs it for 5, then you can level it to gold and get 20, you know? Plus, it sells for more if you ever need to remodel your build, etc. Whereas if you get what I mean. It's an investment. But these are all just like, I'm gonna comment on the ones that seem interesting. Cannon late game nerf, diamond cannon doing the same as gold cannon is interesting. Captains who no longer can stash items and never should have, obviously. Anything else that seems problematic? Concealed dagger is an irrelevant item. Coral is now fixed 20 health. Makes sense. Now it's got a base value that's actually useful rather than starting at 5, which literally did nothing. You want to be careful about adding too many types and like subcategories and stuff, because then you get in the weeds of it. But I take that. Which one is coral armor? I don't think I've ever actually seen coral armor. Oh, it's that one. I just don't know what it's called. Yeah, it's not that good of an item, so that's fine, I guess. So, okay, what else? Cutlass 10, 20, 30, 40 is actually just a buff. It seems like a buff to the cutlass for me. Now a silver cutlass dealing 20 damage straight up is pretty nice. And then you probably don't need to bother upgrading it to, But in general, you weren't really going to upgrade your cutlass anyway, because you're going to better off spending your money on making sure it gets crit chance and, damage buffs through other means, spending on skills, etc. Double barrel nerf, but I guess, no, it's just a nerf all around. And that's fair. Double barrel is pretty strong, especially with enchants. It was at least a good burst because it's really fast. It does need a lot of enablers and setup, but that's fair. Flagship starting sooner. Is flagship the one that I think it is? Because if flagship is the one that I think it is, it's the multicast, right? Yes. Okay. Flagship multicast having more damage sooner is not something that we need. It's already, but the thing is, it's so hard to set up a flagship build. But the problem is, as soon as someone sets up the perfect flagship build, it's literally just like impossible to beat, because it's like it's one of the easier like infinite one-hit combos. I don't know. I think that's not true anymore because the skill that used to enable it is now limited. So you need to survive the initial burst. But like a lifesteal flagship is still problematic. But it's a large weapon. Like it needs to have some benefit, to be honest. Grappling hook now is bronze and it's just overall better. Nobody was, well, I guess it's worse at the diamond stage, but you're not going to get a diamond grappling hook. Nobody was taking this item because it has a pretty long cooldown. Starting a bronze makes it viable, at least for a small weapon, right? Someone might just keep it around for the sake of it. Anything else more noteworthy? Buff to honing steel is great for all of the, cutlass, katana, revolver, whatever, these quick firing early weapons that don't need a powder flask, which is great. Ice pick is not gonna be in any meta worth discussing, I don't think. Long John is now, yes, okay. Long John scaling buffed and damage nerfed. I mean, the upgrade here is pretty irrelevant because you're not gonna pick up a gold or diamond Long John. I always forget how to pronounce Long John. Xian. I'm remembering my meager Chinese pronunciation. Longshan. I'm probably correct. We'll roll with it. Yeah, because this is pretty irrelevant as well, because you're going to be buffing the damage for the katana in other ways. So this is pretty good. Overall Longshan buff, because the scaling is why you want it. Yeah. I mean, each level gains less, but at each level it's better because it starts higher. So we'll take that. Okay, these are some toys. Nesting Doll and Pet Rock. That's not bad. Pet Rock is still really, they buffed it a bit here, but it's still really doesn't do much. I guess it's okay in a weapon build where you're not gonna have many friends. It's a weapon and it's a friend, which I guess is its own niche, but it's a decent niche. Piranha now has a base crit chance. Thank you. Made no sense for an item with the double crit to have no base crit chance, but I guess if you gave it to Cutlass, it would be too overpowered. So fair enough. Pistol sword. I only saw this item for the first time recently. I've never really ended up using it because it's a gold starter. But I've seen it now and it's pretty good. I guess they just want to prevent an item from being wholly useless on one level and like utterly dominant on the next level. They want to make sure that leveling actually feels like an incremental upgrade rather than like at gold, this thing does decent damage, and at diamond, you're going to win every round so quick. Pufferfish cooldown, nerf 2 seconds. That's still fine because you're going to be hasting it and you're going to be spamming wings onto it. I don't think this is a huge deal. Rifle is irrelevant. I don't know. It's pretty irrelevant. They finally changed ROWBOAT, and it's got a mechanic now. That's what they have the types for, which still is but cool. 8-second cooldown, charges adjacent items. So this is big because it's one of the only items to actually charge items other than an item that has its own inbuilt charge mechanic. I think there's battery and then there's some skills, but I don't think there's any other item. And having Vanessa have a charging item is pretty big. And this is only a medium item. So, and reducing it 50, like a 4-second cooldown at 5 or more unique types, charging adjacent items could go crazy. Now, for 5 or more unique types, assuming it counts itself for having a type as aquatic, I guess it doesn't matter if, especially if you have one item that has multiple, I wonder if it stacks. That's my question. Assuming that that's true, you only need like 2 or 3 items to activate this, and you could have an insane build for a 4-second item that charges adjacent items 3 seconds. That could actually, you could build like a one-shot kill machine for an insane amount of DPS. But obviously you need to set it up. But I think this could actually be a great plug and play item because you're going to have naturally a lot of types. And if you see it and you have the condition, there's almost no reason not to take it if you can like sacrifice one item, because you're just going to make your existing build faster. It's an accelerator. So I'm curious on this one. ROWBOAT is the item that I'm looking out for. Fixed seaweed health, irrelevant, it scales. They changed the enchant on Sexton. I thought this was overall, so it confused me for a sec. Yeah, they want you. This deadly enchant is useless, so I'm happy that they've taken care of that one for Sextant. Okay, anything else more relevant? Shark Ray. No, it's got a 1-second buff, I guess. That's chill. Shuffle damage buff, so no one's gonna use it in board unless they have to, obviously. Shoeblade has now got a Parrot type. I guess this is also what they want to do, and I see this vision now, is that from a game design perspective, all these small and medium items that most people may otherwise just ignore because they're not necessarily like, they're not cornerstones of a build. Now, having one of them is necessary. For example, if you have the apparel type for the ROWBOAT to activate, now having a Shoeblade is actually a good part of the run for the purposes of activating the effects. I don't know if that's as valuable of something as opposed to making each item like useful within itself, but it's obviously very hard to develop like so many items in the game, and each item has its own unique use case. Like that's not going to be realistic, but you know, I would like it. Submarine base damage increased. That's no good for a silver submarine to do the same as a gold submarine, but I mean, you're gonna find buffs anywhere. Swashbuckle gaining apparel, that's one of the few really good items that could have that tag. I like that. Switchblade nerf, not very important. Or I guess it's a retweak, if you want to consider it that way. Torpedo, interesting. It's I'm glad that they buffed the cooldown because 10 seconds was way too long, but this gains, yeah, it's still tough to get this because it's an ammo item, and ammo items that this is why you would want to pick up Torpedo, right? Is if you have a bunch of aquatics, and unless you're like slotting it in as specific, like unless you're literally hunting for it, which I don't think people really do, it's going to be very difficult to do so. Another problem that you're going to have when you're running Torpedo is the fact that it's an 8-second long cooldown, and that for those 8 seconds you better be doing something else to survive, because right now it's a problem. Trebuchet tweak, Turtle Shell now gold tier, fair. and then nerf the increase. That's chill. I've already been doing pretty decently without having turtle shell. You can survive early and mid without turtle shell, but it doesn't change the fact that turtle shell is pretty important if you're going for the Vanessa like hasted pufferfish build, for the sustained part of the pufferfish build. Okay, pig changes. Apropos Chapeau. Which one is this one? It's a redesign, so I typed Fapropo. That's crazy. Oh, it's this thing. Okay. One multicast for each. Another case where they clearly are trying to make you pick things up that you wouldn't normally pick up just to activate an item. And this is the best way to do it, in my opinion, because it means that you don't pick them up all for then it's to activate. This is like slowly, linearly increasing for each one that you have, which I think is better. But anyway, when you buy an item, this gain. Sorry, what the fuck is this bust? Oh, they changed it completely. I was like, do you combine? Is this an additional ability? No, they're replacing the Beast of Burden no longer scales, but now is a multi-casting weapon, which is valuable. But if it doesn't scale, I'm trying to imagine a scenario in which you would want it. Because scaling of weapons, you can. To be fair, you can scale weapons as pig. Beast of Burden's got a high cooldown, but if it, for example, if Beast of Burden has like, at like day 3 or 4, it's already gonna have like 5 or 6 multicast. So that's already making it like really strong for early game scaling. And then if you have like your weights, your your what's it called, piggles that scale the damage of this could actually be a really valuable build. Even if it's hard to scale damage specifically on one weapon without the inbuilt scaling, I think this could be worth pursuing. Beast of Burden, especially considering it starts bronze, so you can go to start it quick, even if it doesn't show up in opening selection. Okay, anything else? Boomerang is a new item. It's a weapon, or is this a new effect for an item that exists? I guess I can check how Bazaar and find out. Yeah, it doesn't exist, so this is a new one. Deal damage, they didn't list the cooldown or whatever, but I guess we'll figure it out. When you win a fight against a monster, we just get a random loot item. Okay. It's a farming item. I appreciate it, I guess. Booby Trap is now a toy. Bootstraps is apparel, etc., etc. Which one is Bootstraps again? I'm trying to remember. Every 50 you spend, upgrade an item of a lower tier. I don't know if that's any use, but anyway, I guess you can just keep it in the back and it'll passively upgrade your shit. So it's actually probably a pretty good item to have in your backpack. Now that I think about it, never mind. It's pretty good. Okay, Ganjo buff. That's fair considering how it's probably outclassed by weights just because of the versatility. So you should at least give it a use case as having more. Both of them, I still think, But now with the weapon, with the multicast on the dog, not the dog, the Beast of Burden, which is not a dog, I think. Could be valuable, could be nice. Anything else? Model ship now gives adjacent toys multicast. That's kind of cracked. A lot of toys in Pig. So, I mean, you can see already toy type, apparel type. Is weapon a type? I'm gonna assume so. Yo-yo is a toy. You can give yo-yo multicast by putting it next to a model ship. That doesn't seem broken at all, considering what we know about yo-yo and its charging ability. That doesn't seem like it's gonna cause any problems, surely. Silk is now Silk Scarf. Makes sense. Silk is like, not as descriptive as it could be. I mean, come on, brother. When you overheal, okay, they gave it a keyword. but they nerfed the ability. I think Moto Ship and Beast of Burden are the things that I have my eyes on for big enablers, because now Moto Ship you can put it next to toys, you can put it next to Yo-Yo, and you can try and go crazy mode with that. Or alternatively, you can try and what do you call it? Before I scroll down too far, you can multicast a lot of other stuff. Plus, all of the Piggles are toys. Multicast Piggle could go crazy as well. There's a lot going on. Okay, dually changes. I finally figured out how to play Shield dually. By the way, it's not that hard. You literally just need the core, duct tape, and force field, and you can just put everything else like as necessary. It's like a seasoning instruction for a recipe, man. Okay. Dually core changes. Armored core. Nerf. Yes. Fair. Combat core. Fixed. Wait, what? So what is the upgrading do for the combat core? Am I mistaking it for a different kind of core? Oh, it's not the dually core, it's that thing. It's just got a fixed damage now. Never mind. Irrelevant. Ignore previous instruction. Retweaking stuff for the cores. Basically just a bunch of retweaks. Not a big deal. Alpha Ray, big nerf. Thank God that this thing is no longer busted and that upgrading it is not. Well, it's still good because there's no way to increase this number otherwise, but this is a huge nerf to the weapon. Well, the huge, many weapon dually build, which I love. As in, I love the nerf. Okay, anything else? Anything else that causes big problems? Oh, bunkers now you take flat less damage. That's worse because of the shield synergy. Gaining shield is a valuable synergy, but taking less damage, I don't know if it's got much more. I don't know. I don't back it. Anything else worth considering? Chrono barrier. Non-tech items. Okay, so now it punishes you unless you have a tech build, which is dually. So, you know what? That doesn't really make much of a difference, dare I say. Nothing here seems too meta-changing for dually itself. Most of it just seems pretty chill. Let me double check what fiber optics is so I can refresh my memory. When you use your leftmost item charge your rightmost item, that's a pretty strong item. Okay, so that alone is probably above the dually, but that's a strong item, even though it's a late game gold and diamond only item. That's pretty fair. Why was it 1, 2, 3, 5 in the first place? Random aside. Okay, buff to mech moles. I very rarely see mech moles in play. Yeah, because it's kind of hard to fit. It's a medium 6-second cooldown. But it's now that weapon scaling is harder to find, maybe this is what you need. Maybe this is what you need, but you also need haste engine, which, unless you get the core of dually, which would make this very valuable, it's hard to guarantee it. So, you know. Missile cooldown nerf, that's tough. Buff to Omega Ray. Okay. Burn dually is not getting nerfs. That's kind of cracked. Rocket launcher starting at bronze is very nice as well, because you can get that puppy cooking early. It's a multicast burn item as well. Like there's a lot to love, dare I say it, because it can get scaled by the burn buffs. So honestly, burn dually seems like it's just in vogue right now with these changes. Everything else is sort of being retweaked. But anyway. Okay, assorted stuff. We got dragon items now. Fair enough. I guess these are more for like when they introduce them. Right now there's not that much utility to having the non-released hero items. Most of them don't really work because the synergies are things that we don't have access to. It's hard to plug them in. So there's a few of them that have like a lot of utility, but like most of these are not useful. So I don't think it's really that relevant, especially these are just type increases, skill changes. Dual wield is replace Mr. Moo's skill. Exactly 2 weapons is plus 50% crit chance. Now, given that this is a chance from a chance, I think that this is actually just like kind of bad, unless you can get dual wield from like monster skill vendors, because it doesn't seem like it's very. It feels like it's just like a if you get lucky, get luckier thing. Now, shell shock is pretty useless. Don't get me wrong. It's the, what do you call it? If you're unfamiliar, your items have +1 damage for each ammo you have in your items in play. I guess it's supposed to be making it difficult for you as well as potentially being valuable for you if you get it. So you have to kind of balance that because the skills they have are the skills you can get. But I do think it's hey, whatever. There's so many busted skills, so maybe it's not that busted actually. Now that I think about it, never mind. That's a funny bug. Anything else? Just bug fixes. Veteran Octopus now has more damage, 50 base damage on the Octopus, aka does not suck. Okay, this is a pretty big patch. The biggest, honestly, I'm gonna give you the Cliff's Notes fast version of this patch. Poison and burn enchants are now scalable based on the thing that they're on, which is really strong. Now they're actually useful to put on a lot of things, I believe. In terms of Vanessa changes, Barrow is worse, and I think that's probably, and I guess a little bit, and Barrow is worse, and is it ROWBOAT? What is ROWBOAT? Yes, ROWBOAT could be a meta-defining item with this new type synergy, but you know, you have to think about that one. Actually, maybe I'll just stream the Bazaar tomorrow when the patch is out, because then I don't have to have a backlog of old patch content. I think that's a good idea. And that's about it for Pig. I think new Beast of Burden is very interesting, and new model ship is very interesting, and the rest of these are synergies that are enabled through that. Dually, I think burn is up and weapon scaling is down, but everything else is just like as it was before. Okay, and of course rank changes, but ranked is still a work in progress, so that's not a big deal to me. But yeah, I think that's kind of all. And yeah, enjoy the patch when it comes out. These are my thoughts. We'll see how much of what I said is true when the game comes out. Actually, when it might even have already happened. Announcements. When is the downtime? Will be in 6 hours. Okay, well then, you know, that's when I'll see you. Goodbye.